Hello, Life versus Jason Love with Jason Loves Life. And we got this wonderful question from Angela asking about autism and the use of the word autism, and then also about Asperger's. So let me cover Asperger's first. Yes, for Asperger's, I think it's kind of like a three deal situation where some still like the term, some don't like the term because it's no longer a true diagnosis. They took it out of the, I forget the DM, blah, 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 the thing that has all the official diagnosis. So you can no longer be diagnosed as Asperger's. And then you also have people who think because of the history, which is a fair argument, the history of the Dr. Asperger's, or I think it's Hans Asperger's, I can't remember, but had some Nazi connections. I tried to do a little research on it, but it doesn't interest me that much. But I do believe he did send children off to, basically, he knew they would be killed. So that, at the very least, I don't know anything else, but that's plenty to, not like a character. So a lot of people don't like that label because of that. And then also it becomes sort of what they call ableist, where it sort of puts like these, kind of implies like, okay, these people on the autism spectrum are kind of better. And so that's a real issue within the community. And I have to say, I get all of them. And I try not to use the term. I'm sure I would maybe in casual conversation on accident, or just to like simplify things. But yeah, I mean, those are all great reasons. You can pick one or you can pick them all not to use Asperger's. So that was a great question. Then also the other question was about autism, thoughts on the using that label. And again, it's very similar. Each person has their own situation. You're going to get a different answer from different people. I always refer to the individual who's on the autism spectrum. Like, on the spectrum kind of annoys people too. So it's like anything, everyone has their own opinion. So I just say, figure out what the person you're talking to prefers, and then work with that. I know the ones that I know for sure, the ones that I've heard from the community, at least why, or at least some of the reasons why, is they don't like the term. Teachers like to use the term a child with autism because it puts the child first. But then, some of the people in that community, quite a few from what I've seen, but I have like, I'm on Facebook, so it's like a sliver of the actual, everyone on the spectrum, or, I say on the spectrum, even though some don't like that term. So a sliver of autistic individuals, they don't like it because they self-identify, or like they find that as part of their identity, and they just feel, I never really liked using that, only because it felt slightly like wordplay, like somehow saying child with autism, does it really have any different connotations, or autistic child? Like, it just seems like the same thing to me. But I also get like the teacher's point of view, but I always defer to what does the individual who you're referring to prefer. And so, it could be ASD, autism spectrum disorder. It could be that they don't like talking about it at all. You got to respect that. So, I hope that it helps. And this is another opportunity where it's good to interact with, if you can, and you're in the situation where you need to learn about autism, is to interact with the autism advocacy groups. Again, Facebook, there's some online, and again, even they disagree, even though sometimes it'll feel like they agree. We're a world made up of individuals. So it's a great question, and definitely one that I still struggle with, is what terms do I use? And I just try to use the one that seems the least offensive to the most amount of people. Is kind of where I go, because you do find people on this, as I said, on the spectrum, who are autistic, who prefer autism spectrum disorder, or prefer the term on the spectrum. So our son at the moment doesn't really. I've tried to talk to him about autism a little bit, and he actually doesn't seem to really want to think about it that much, or really care, because as far as he can tell, he doesn't see the difference. But I want to sort of prep him to say, hey, your experience is going to be slightly different. When you experience something, it's going to be different than your peers. So kind of prepping him without giving him more anxiety about the world. And so it's something that I get anxious about. You know, anxiety is always something I struggle with as well. So trying to just keep them mentally safe and aware that, you know, to sort of have a grasp of the reality we all have. So again, it would be stuff like him not understanding, like looking people in the eye. I definitely push him to like not necessarily do that. You know, maybe look towards them and tell him, you know, if people don't realize you're talking to him, you know, it's because of your head, and so he can make a conscious decision. Do I need to look at them? Again, not necessarily in the eyes or in the face or anything, but like just so, you know, like, you know, I'm talking to you because I'm looking at you, but if I'm talking like this, so kind of explaining it like that. Again, not forcing him. There's no like, you need to talk to so-and-so and look at them. It's more of a question of like his comfort level, you know, and what he chooses. You know, he's his own person. So, and again, the same with the label. You need to figure out each individual. So I hope that was helpful. Again, I'm definitely not an expert on this, and from the little bit of, you know, traveling around the internet and talking with people and mostly listening, it's an individual preference, and so you got to go with that. Thank you. Great question. Feel free to add some more questions in the comments. I'm going to try to answer questions for a while just because these are kind of fun. So, all right, if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the little bell too. I think that helps. And then like this video if you found it helpful.